Stephanie, La Mera Candelaria. Thank you for joining me for my hour set. We're going to be doing some cool stuff, playing some music. I got a special guest here with me as well, and we're just going to be talking, about, I guess, my journey as La Mera and how I got to be here today. So I wanted to start off, obviously, in the beginning. It started with my mama, Leticia Candelaria.
In the beginning.
In the beginning. So yeah, Mama, I just wanted, we're sharing with LALIFF and with the La Mera Candelaria fans a little bit about how La Mera came to be. So, obviously you raised me, you're a full-time musician. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I raised my Steffi. Her and I were, two thieves in the night. We were meant to be together, me and my Steph. And she's right, I was a single mom for many, many years. And music was just a part of everyday life for us, for me especially, growing up in musical theater and singing in church and doing a bunch of stuff for lots of people throughout the town that I grew up in. And so it was something that was just an everyday kind of occurrence for us. We always had music at the house. I loved eclectic music. I loved collecting different types of music. So Steffi was always introduced to different types. The BMG Music Factory.
Everything.
Yeah, 10 CDs for a penny.
Shakira.
We had early Cheyenne. We had Ibiza. We had all kinds of stuff. But I think, I think music is just an expression, and it was easy for us to just have it within our relationship because it was part of our environment, definitely part of our tapestry.
Yeah, I mean,
life.
Just at all times there was always music happening in the house. But also as a musician. So not only were we, avid listeners to music, but your work as a vocalist was a big part of our weekly schedule. Like we had Sunday Mass here at the Mission San Juan Bautista, actually, where we're filming right now. Is one of the most beautiful acoustics for a vocalist, and so my weekends were filled with her voice filling up the mission. And then later on you joined a salsa group.
Yes, well, I started with singing professionally at 15 here at the mission. I started cantering mass. I started coming to church by myself to listen to the music without all my brothers and sisters. When I was about ambient sound, hey, we should be inside right now, actually. But it was just a joy for me to be able to listen to the singer. And there was one woman who was a real big, very, very important for me as far as vocals. And she passed away. So when she passed away, they asked if I could take her place as a cantor. So I started cantering at 15, and I've been singing at the same mission for the last 36 years. 36 years. But then from there it went to vocal directing, and that was a big part of everything for us. With teatro, we did a lot of theater, musical theater, and I was a vocal director at 20 and did that for a long time, years and years and years, over 20 years as a vocal director. But not only here, we did lots of college productions. We did 1940 Radio Hour, Joseph, Mera La Mancha, Joseph, the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and Sound of Music. So there was a lot of different types. Yeah, we did Sound of Music. Yeah, Sound of Music. Y'all guys were one of the first ones. But
I know we would go from listening to Celia Cruz to rehearsing Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat sounds. Just such an interesting eclectic mix. But so then you joined a salsa group is what I wanted to get to.
Yeah, she was in high school. You were still in high school when I joined.
Yes, and so it was just such a cool experience to grow up, you know, with a mom who was on stage every weekend, like with this really great group, and we learned all the songs together because you were my ride to school.
She was my pregón master. She had to help me with my pregón.
I had to help you decipher. I just remember Celia Cruz, Quimbara, and we were like playing it over and over, trying to figure out what she was saying, because you know, it's different Spanish, like Cuban Spanish is so different, and oh my God, but I still know that.
Yeah,
that song,
I think we all know that song.
like, word for word because of that experience. But so growing up with you, you know, as a big musical influence in my life, you know, there got to be a point where it almost wasn't even a question that I was going to start making music, but you know, like any artist, you've got to figure out where you stand and what niche you're going to fall into. And it wasn't until I think, well, in the summer before 8th grade, you sent me off to camp.
Catholic school camp.
No, it was Baptist.
Catechism camp. She went to a camp. She had to learn about God.
Oh my God. And so you sent me to camp, you sent me away, and I learned guitar there from one of the camp counselors. And I finally was like, okay, you know, something to help me express, something that I can accompany myself with, you know, to learn a little bit more about music. And I think a lot of artists start off by just learning songs that they like, their favorites, or, you know, in my case, I learned one of your favorites. So I actually wanted to share with you guys the very first song I ever learned to play on guitar and sing along to, obviously, was by one of our favorite artists. Who is it, Mom?
Sade.
So yeah, so we're gonna play this song.
And this, I think you sang it for me on Mother's Day or my birthday. You gave it to you sang it for me, and I was just completely blown away because I hadn't.
Amazing.
Yeah, she was totally stealth though. Okay, she didn't come out like singing and like, you know, guitar playing like, Mom, check it out. She was very private about it, which I was too, I think, growing up. I was too, although I used to tell my sisters, you know, we could have a singing contest in case they wanted to, you know, do something fun, but.
So ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
So this was a big surprise.
Yeah. Sade. Okay, so here's the song. Here's the song, you guys. I'm gonna play the song for you. Sweetest Gift by Sade. Promised you a life that you so gracefully carry. You bring your light and shine like morning. And when the wind pulls the clouds across the moon, your light fills the darkest room, and I can see the miracle that keeps us from falling. She promised all the sweetest gifts that only the heavens could bestow. You bring your light, shine like morning. And as you so gracefully give her light, as long as you live, I'll always remember this moment. Oh, yeah. Oh, you sang a little bit with me. Oh my God, stop. So yeah, that was my first song that I ever
You
learned.
guys crying?
And, oh my God, I'm not crying. You're crying.
Okay.
And yeah, and you know, from there, I continued to explore. I never became a super great guitar player. I don't consider myself a guitarist. I'm someone who can play enough guitar to accompany myself. But so yeah, all right, so my first few years after I started learning how to play guitar, I also started dancing folklorico at that time up in San Jose, and I became really interested and excited about the music, and we were learning all these dances from different regions in Mexico, and I was introduced to things like son jarocho and all these different regional styles, and so this was like pre-Spotify, early YouTube days, so I would go into these, like, as deep as you could at the time, YouTube holes, searching through all of this regional music of Mexico and just falling in love. And it was through that I discovered Chavela Vargas, and she was my biggest influence early on, and I just fell in love with the world of ranchera, boleros as well. It was my thing. And so when I first started actually performing out in front of, open mics, and I actually did some street busking in the San Francisco Bay Area for quite a while, it was mostly those songs, the classics, rancheras, boleros. And so I wanted to share a couple of my favorites with you guys today. I'm gonna play two songs, one bolero called Nosotros, and then one ranchera called Paloma Negra. And Paloma Negra is so meaningful to me because that was the first song that I heard by Chavela Vargas, and I just I still get chills hearing that song, and it really inspired me. Like, man, when I heard her singing that song, I thought, God, that's what I need to be doing. I want to sing like that, and I want to sing songs like that. And so, yeah, so I'm going to share those with you right now. I'm going to start with Nosotros. So here we go. Atiéndeme, quiero decirte algo que quizás no esperes, doloroso tal vez. Escúchame, aunque me duele el alma, yo necesito hablarte, y así lo haré. Nosotros, que fuimos tan sinceros, que desde que nos vimos amándonos estamos. Nosotros, que del amor hicimos un sol maravilloso, romance tan divino. Nosotros, que nos queremos tanto, debemos separarnos. No me preguntes más, no es falta de cariño, te quiero con el alma, te juro que te adoro, y en nombre de este amor y por tu bien, te digo adiós. Ya me canso de llorar y no amanece. Ya no sé si maldecirte o por ti rezar. Tengo miedo de buscarte y de encontrarte. Donde me aseguran mis amigos que te vas. Hay momentos en que quisiera mejor rajarme y arrancarme y a los clavos de mi pena. cariño, con la aurora te vuelvo a esperar. Y acaraste por tu cuenta las parandas So I also wanted to talk, moving along in the journey of La Mera. I think it was around the time that I started college, or maybe I was like a senior in high school, that you started putting on these Christmas concerts here at the San Juan Mission. And it was such an inspiration to me as a young musician who was starting to explore my own voice, my own stage presence, the kind of music that I was feeling drawn to at the time. And watching you put these shows together was really special because, it was amazing to watch you put together this entire event. And so like the importance of event planning and logistics and having, people that you can rely on and trust is definitely something that I think I learned from you and watching you put on these shows year after year. But also one of the big things for me with your Christmas concerts was like the spirit of collaboration and bringing in all these. She would bring in these artists from all over and different styles of music, just all these different things, and put people on stage playing songs together that may never have ever worked together or even thought to combine. Like, you've got a wonderful couple from here in town play violin and cello, accompany each other, and then like with the full rondalla, like from San Jose, and then and then they're singing Christmas songs, and it was like just such a beautiful thing. And I know that my appreciation for collaborative spaces amongst different groups, different niches within music is something that I learned from you, and something that I try. If any of you guys were at our album release last month, you saw my vision of creating spaces for mujeres throughout Los Angeles, but also bridging different genres, bringing different groups of people together who are making different styles of music, and that's something that I really learned to appreciate through you, obviously through your eclectic music taste, but also the way that you threw these events. So you want to just tell us a little bit about what they were or what they meant to you, I guess. Why did you even put those shows on?
Well, I think this was just before, it was 2007, 2008, so it was just before the crash. And I think there was just a lot going on in the community at the time. A lot of commerce, a lot of materialism, a lot of just business. People were busy. And funny how, we're back at the same place. But it was very interesting to be able to put together something that was going to basically bring communities together. And it was a free event. It was called the Concert of Love and Joy. And we did it for one night only. It was here at the Mission in San Juan, completely free to everyone. It was not at all anything that anybody had to plan for. I put posters in town, let merchants know, to let their patrons know that I was going to be singing, we're having this event. And I let the parish know, the community, I let them know about the concert. So it was, I remember the first year was, you know, we had
just a couple of acts.
Yeah, a couple of acts. We had just, you know, maybe under an hour. We had maybe about 100 people, mostly my family.
Yeah.
And it was fun. You know, there was a lot of people coming in, and there was a lot of joy. And even though we didn't really know what we were doing, it just all came together. And like Steph said, we had musicians from everywhere, and they really would not have come together had it not been for this concert. And then for 6-7 years after that, we kept continuing to do it. So it grew.
And it grew.
It just kept growing and growing. And by the end of it, I had musicians calling and asking me, hey, are we doing the concert again this year? You know, what do you want me to do? I'll get ready now. You know, have you come across any new music that you want us to learn? They were very open. Everybody was open to learning something different. And I loved it because it was a chance to showcase local talent, local musicians, but just music, that's all. And it was great. I think
it was so fun.
Yeah, the community really liked it.
And it was a special moment in my life because though we had both been making music at that point for several years, and I was kind of just starting off in my career, that was the first time we really ever collaborated musically. And so we actually wanted to share with you guys a song that's very meaningful to both of us. And somehow I convinced you to play it in your concert because she's like full on Christmas, like that movie Elf. She's Will Ferrell. She's Will Ferrell of Elf. And so she was like, all the songs have to be Christmas, like, you know, the Lord, whatever. And I convinced her to play the song because I was like, you know, I feel like it really fits the theme of you know, love and joy. And this also, so this was the first song that we ever collaborated on, but also I think that we wanted to share it with you guys now as well, you know, in the spirit of what this video is, you know, Stephanie La Mera in quarantine. I'm able to have this space really to share with you guys these stories about my life and my music, but it's only because the world is on pause right now, and it's such a difficult and challenging time. And so this song also, I think, is really meaningful, you know, that we wanted to share with you guys right now during this time that, you know, things are changing and things are challenging, but love is the most important thing. And so this song is called Todo Cambia. The song is called Todo Cambia. And I'm actually not sure who wrote it, but the version that I fell in love with was interpreted by Mercedes Sosa. So we'll say Mercedes Sosa. Mercedes Sosa. All right, here we go. Cambia lo superficial, cambia también lo profundo, cambia el modo de pensar, cambia todo en este mundo, cambia el clima con los años. Cambia el pastor su rebaño, y así como todo cambia, que yo cambia no es extraño. Cambia el más fino brillante, de mano en mano su brillo, cambia el nido el pajarillo, cambia el sentir un amante, cambia el rumbo el caminante, aunque esto le cause daño, y así como todo cambia, que yo cambia no es extraño. Cambia, todo cambia. Cambia, todo cambia. Cambia, todo cambia. Cambia, todo cambia. Cambia el sol en su carrera, aunque la noche subsiste. Cambia la planta y se viste de breve la primavera. Cambia el pelaje la fiera, cambia el cabello el anciano, y así como todo cambia, que yo cambie no es extraño. Pero no cambiar mi amor, por más lejos que me encuentre, ni el recuerdo ni el dolor de mi pueblo y de mi gente. cambió ayer tendrá que cambiar mañana, así como cambio yo en esta tierra lejana. Cambia, todo cambia. Cambia, todo cambia. Cambia, todo cambia. Cambia, todo cambia. Pero no cambia mi amor. 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 All right, so yeah, so the Christmas concerts, I collaborated with my mom, and continued to explore. And again, like I mentioned earlier, like rancheras and boleros were like my life at that time. And it was actually one day I was busking in San Francisco at the 24th Street BART station, and I have family that used to live out there, 24th and Bartlett. What? 115. But I was busking at the 24th Street BART station, and a friend of mine who, we knew each other, but he had no idea that I sang. And he actually saw me singing Paloma Negra and was like, girl, I didn't know you could sing like that. Like, when we're starting this project, why don't you come through? It's a cumbia group. And I was a very, serious ranchera singer. Like, I don't fuck around. Oh, I probably should cuss. I don't mess around with this cumbia thing. Like, I guess I'll give it a shot. So I showed up to an audition, and I got in, and we started this group together, and we ended up staying together for 7 years because I remember my first performance at the Elbow Room in San Francisco in the Mission District, and I was petrified and like terrified. And the pictures of me, I'm like stuck to the microphone, just like didn't move the whole show, ran off stage as soon as it was over. But just the energy of having a live dancing crowd with you, like, when I would sing and play guitar, singing rancheras, people listen, and I would get, really great feedback from the audience. I booked shows, I performed, but it was just different. It's not the same kind of energy of having a sit-down audience who's kind of, receiving your energy rather than having a dancing audience that is also reciprocating your energy. They're dancing, they're singing along, they're laughing, they're drinking. It's, it's this reciprocation of energy flow that's happening between the performers and each other on stage, having a band with you as well as your audience. So I started singing cumbia in 2009, and I've been doing some kind of Latin dance, tropical music ever since, because I couldn't get enough of that energy, and that's really what I learned fed my creativity, because up until that point I had only been singing songs that other people wrote, and there's nothing wrong with that, and they're beautiful songs, but it was at that time that I started to write my first songs, and and branch out musically as well. So I discovered a lot of this world of cumbia is so diverse, and each region, each country, and each region within countries has different styles of cumbia. And so there was one group that I was really drawn to in my early days as a cumbia singer in the Bay Area, Totola Momposina, and she's this beautiful, like, Afro-Colombiana woman performer, and her style, when she first started making music, and the majority of her releases are this very, very traditional Colombian, like, percussion and vocals only, no other instrumentation, and it's a very African inspiration for a lot of her songs. You can really hear the African influence in a lot of her music. And she released this one album that I kind of stumbled across, and it stuck with me, and it actually became a really heavy inspiration for my current project, La Mera Candelaria. But in this album, she was combining her Colombian cumbia roots and the drums and this like call and response style of vocalization with these like Cuban musicians that she partnered up with, and they created this like incredible clash of album of all these different influences. And there was a tres, and they had piano, and it was like salsa, but it's cumbia, and like what is it? And one of the songs on that album was called Yo Me Amo Cumbia, and that's actually the only song that I have continued to sing in every project that I've ever been in since I first started in 2009 up in the Bay, because it's such a beautiful song. It captures, I think, the feeling of cumbia and the comunidad, the amor, you know, this kind of sense that we're part of something bigger. And yeah, I sang it then, you know, with my first group, and I sing it now with La Mera Candelaria, obviously in a very different type of style nowadays, because my music has evolved in so many different ways. But so I wanted to play part of it for you guys. I'm going to play part of the song, and at that time I was actually still playing guitar on stage with my band. I don't do that anymore because I prefer to be free as a vocalist, so that I can dance, move around the stage, engage with the audience, leave the stage, you know, go dancing. So I no longer play instruments on stage, but at that time, 2009, there's actually a picture somewhere on Facebook of me like in a little dress and my hair all pulled back, playing guitar and playing this song, Yo Me Amo Cumbia by Toto La Momposina. So here we go. Oh gosh. Yo me amo cumbia, yo soy la reina por donde voy. No hay una cadera que se esté quieta donde yo estoy. Mi piel es morena como los cueros de mi tambor, y mis hombros son un par de maracas que besa el sol. Y mis hombros son un par de maracas que besa el sol. Llevo en la garganta una fina flauta que Dios me dio. Canto de mío, río de tabaco, aguardiente y ron. Cojo mi mochila, enciendo la vela, repico el sol. Y entrada en la luna con las estrellas toda mi voz. Y entrada en la luna con las estrellas toda mi voz. But yeah, so that song, again, we still play it now, and it's changed. I've done all these different things with that song, but it's something that I've carried with me. So, you know, when the world opens up again and we have our next show, come out and see La Mera, and you'll hear that song most likely during one of our live sets. But so to continue on the journey, you know, I was with that band for 7 years in the Bay Area, and I learned so much as a songwriter, as a band member, as a business person, and you know, there were many challenges along the way, but I learned, and I got smarter, and I began to develop who I was as a performer as well with that group. Because yeah, those first few shows were rough, man. I would stand up on stage just glued to the mic stand, and then as soon as the show was over, just run to the bathroom or leave. And I remember, you know, just wishing and hoping, like, gosh, how am I gonna figure out who I am on stage? Who is it that I'm gonna be, you know? And slowly over time, it began to develop. And I remember one particular show, actually in Santa Cruz at Moe's Alley, that my mom came, and it was one of her first times seeing the group since the very, very beginning. Like, we were starting to actually get good. And she just gave me a blessing before the show. She didn't even really say anything out of the ordinary, but I just was like, something switched in me at that show, and I like really experienced that performance in a different way. I was dancing around the stage, and I was singing differently, and I was like making eye contact with audience members, which had always freaked me out at first, and like really looking at people and appreciating their energy. And yeah, I've changed so much still since then. My performance has continued to evolve, continued to grow, and change to reflect, you know, how my life has changed. But yeah, I can remember specifically the night that it kind of started, and I began to find who I am as a performer. So to continue on with my, you know, little autobiography here, it came to a point, you know, where I decided to leave that group and try my luck in Los Angeles. And life, you know, it was challenging. It was challenging to make that decision to leave everything, my home, my family, my band, my job. And then it was also challenging because every time I tried to get there, I kept facing obstacles, and I don't know, it was difficult. And so there was this weird like chunk of time, like maybe 6 months, where I was I had already left my band, and I was not yet in LA, so I was kind of just like stuck in the middle. And I did experience some I don't know, like I began to question, like, should I continue making Latin music? Like, is this what I really want to do? And there was a brief phase where I got super into oldies. I think that every Chicano, like, your childhood is not complete without, you know, somebody blasting East Side Story, you know, at the family parties on Sundays. And so I kind of began to, for the first time since I started making cumbia, I started to experiment with something other than cumbia and Latin music, and I got really into oldies for a hot second. So I wanted to share a little bit with you guys about you know, some of the songs that I played around with. And one of these songs you may recognize we actually released earlier this year. It is available, you know, for purchase or to stream on all your favorite streaming platforms. So I was gonna share this little song with you guys. Here we go. Let's do this. I had a girl, and Donna was her name. Since she left me, I've never been the same, 'cause I love my girl. Don't know where can you be? Where can you be? Earth angel, the one I adore. Love you forever and evermore. I'm just a fool in love with you. It's just like heaven being here with you. You're like an angel, too good to be true. But after all, I love you, I do. Angel baby, my angel baby. Ooh, I love you. Ooh, I do. No one can love you like I do. Ooh. If you should lose me, well, yeah, you'll lose a good thing. If you should lose me, well, yeah, you lose a good thing. Whoa, you know I love you, do anything for you. Just don't mistreat me, baby, I'll be good to you. But if you should lose me, well, yeah, you lose a good thing. Whoa. So one thing I wanted to mention about Lose a Good Thing, which you just heard in that oldies medley potpourri, it's actually released online, like I mentioned before, but I did want to mention that song, the recording was a collaboration with the homies from Salinas, Quien Sabe, so I just wanted to shout them out real quick. Carlos Cortez and Alejandro Gomez can be heard backing me on that track. So yeah. But anyways, moving right along. So I did the oldies, you know, I had already planned to move to Los Angeles, and I finally got there. It took like 6 months of craziness and back and forth and couch surfing, but I finally made it, and it was very challenging. I think that, you know, moving to any new city is always difficult, and then trying to jump into one of the biggest Latin music scenes in the United States, you know, trying to break in, it takes a lot, and especially as a young woman, I was 25 when I moved, and there were a lot of challenges, you know, and it took me quite a while to find musicians first, who are willing to invest in a brand new startup project, you know, who could kind of see my vision. I definitely faced my fair share of weirdos who like didn't take me seriously. Like, I remember one guy showed up, I sent him charts, and he showed up to rehearsal without his instrument even, because he was like, oh, like, I seriously thought that you were just trying to hook up. So yeah, like weird stuff like that, always fun, and a lot of mujeres have stories that are very similar. But there were also a lot of blessings that I encountered, you know, in my first couple years in Los Angeles. People like La Junta Collective really helped me to get my start. David DeGroveme of La Junta actually produced my first EP for super homie hookup, like discount price, because he just came up to me one day after seeing me perform with Viento Callejero, actually, like, girl, I love your voice, I love your style, like, whatever you're doing, count me in, I want in. And produced my album, you know, my first EP, and I was not expecting that, like, you know, especially being someone from the Bay Area, there's a lot of, like, hate towards LA, and I participated in that for sure before I moved, and so I just assumed, like, man, everybody in LA is gonna be a jerk, everybody's out for themselves, and like it's gonna be a struggle, and it was a struggle, but there was like some real homie love that I encountered. So like La Junta, Tom from Enclave LA, you know, always throwing me, you know, networking opportunities, and like, hey, have you connected with so and so, this musician, that booker, that promoter, and you know, just so much love from other musicians as well. And so it took a couple years of hustle and struggle, but I finally got this group together, La Mera Candelaria. We released an EP, we began to perform, and you know, with any new project, it takes time to solidify your vision, your sound, what is our message, like what is our purpose in the scene, and especially in a place like Los Angeles where there is so much good Latin music being made, or just music in general. Like, you have to stand out, and you have to find a unique place for yourself so that you don't get drowned by everybody else. And so La Mera became, you know, started to become this like brand, you know, the name La Mera and the hair and the outfits and the makeup, and like that whole stage personality was something that I was not expecting when I started. And I began to kind of develop this character, this like alter ego of Stephanie Candelaria into La Mera Candelaria. And I think that she's someone who I aspire to be in a lot of ways. Like, a lot of her characteristics are things that I want in my life, you know, and she's become this like powerful feminist like figure in the scene, and supporting other mujeres, you know, collaborating with other musicians and creating spaces not just for mujeres in the Latin music industry, where it's not easy, but also for queer voices in music and in the Latino industry specifically. You know, there's definitely a lot of room for growth for both of those outlooks within the Latin music scene. You know, as a mujer, as a queer person, like, our stories matter and are valuable. And so as my persona of La Mera began to develop, at the same time I'm seeing the music begin to develop as well. And we started off as doing a lot of cumbia, but very, you know, I intentionally chose the instrument of the tres to be used as our main instrument, because I just fell in love. Like, remember I said earlier, Toto La Momposina, that album where she mashed up cumbia colombiana with this Caribbean flavor, and it stuck with me, and I was like, that is what I want to do, my interpretation of that. So I from early on, terca, like nope, no guitar, I'm using the tres, and it was not an easy decision because not a lot of people play that instrument, but it was worth it because when I found people who had the talent, who had the sabor and the, you know, the cultural knowledge of that style of music, like man, the band just clicked and our sound became so unique and unforgettable, and like that's who we are. So I'm seeing all of these things begin to, you know, click into place, the band, our message, my personality, my performance, our musically, and then our cohesion as a band as well, the people that I choose to work with. I'm very intentional about that, you know, you have to be, and my music is my way to express who I am in this world and what kind of world I'm trying to create for other people out there. So, you know, being intentional about the people you surround yourself with is really important, and I'm very blessed to have some not only incredibly talented musicians surrounding me, but also people with vision and people with a lot of love in their hearts for what we do. So shout out to them, and you're actually gonna see them in a little bit. We made a little video for you guys, but I just wanted to wrap up by saying La Mera, Candelaria, you know, our place in this music scene, I understand that I am just the latest in a long line of mujeres who have been struggling and hustling to scratch out a place for women in this industry, because historically, the music industry in general, but specifically the Latin music industry, is not a friendly place for women as musicians or as the objects of the songs. That, you know, songs about women are not friendly, not feminist, not empowering, and there have been women throughout the generations who have struggled to create something better for us. You know, Selena, Celia Cruz, Chavela Vargas, Paquita de la del Barrio. You know, there's so many women who I know that I'm just the next following in their footsteps for sure. And so I envision La Mera's place in this larger community of incredible creatives and musicians in Los Angeles, as kind of, you know, we have a very powerful feminist message, and that's our thing. We are taking Latin music that is such a huge part of our communities, but is very problematic, and has very mixed messages for women and young women today, and flipping that very music on its head and using it for our purposes, for our stories, to say what we want to say and not what somebody else tells me I should be talking about or singing about. And so, you know, kind of like fighting the battle from within, using the very thing that has been used to you know, continue and promote these social norms, but completely for the opposite, moving it into the opposite direction. And that's who we are. That's La Mera, you know, and we're gonna continue to make music, and, you know, we're all here struggling through this quarantine, and that's why I created this video today, you know, to share a little bit about myself with you guys, but also to, you know, let you all know, like, we're all here in solidarity with each other, and La Mera is no different. We actually put something very special together for you guys. We're all safely quarantined in our homes. We haven't seen each other, but we can't wait to get back on the stage and share our music with you guys. But until then, we put together this very special video of everybody playing Si Reina together but separate but together, from the comfort and safety of our own homes. And we hope you enjoy it, and we will see you guys very soon. Thank you. Stay safe and stay healthy. Mwah.
Okay, I'm recording already. Go ahead.
Quieren preguntar, pero no, yo te digo, no te daré mi no, yo te digo, yo no quiero el tuyo. Hey, yo soy la Mera, ajá, sirena, con mis perlas y corona, mi brillo nunca apagará. Ay, sí, ay, sirena, ay, sí, ay, sirena, ay, sí, ay, sirena, ay, sí. Mírate, hermano, que ya con la reina, muy guapito que soy la reina, ponte de punta en blanco, que ya con la reina. Ay, sí, ay, sirena, ay, sí, ay, sirena, ay, sí, ay, sirena, ay, sí. No quiero escuchar tus palabras vacías, no piensas que así me puedes ganar. Te digo que así nunca vas a encontrar una mujer como yo de perla y corona. Ay, sí, ay, sirena, ay, sí, ay, sirena, ay, sí, ay, sirena, ay, sí. Ese es mi tren. Ay, sí, ay, sirena, ay, sí, ay, sirena, ay, sí, ay, sirena, ay, sí. Ay, sí, ay, sirena, ay, sí, ay, sirena, ay, sí, ay, sirena, ay, sí. Quiero dedicar esta canción a toda la reina, digo yo, aunque no se ve, hermana, han de con perla y corona. Ay, sí, ay, sirena, ay, sí, ay, sirena, ay, sí, ay, sirena, ay, sí. Que vivan las mujeres, las hermosas y tan fuertes, yo les digo, ay, sirena, sí. Ay, sí, ay, sirena, ay, sí, ay, sirena, ay, sí, ay, sirena, ay, sí. Ritmo, candela y amor. Voy a gozar, las penas olvidar. Voy a vivir mi vida, dejar el pasado atrás. Vamos a gozar, las penas olvidar. Hay que vivir la vida, dejar el pasado atrás. La mera Candelaria ya llegó. Ritmo, candela, cumbia, sol. La mera Candelaria ya llegó. Ritmo, candela y amor. La mera ya llegó. La mera ya llegó. La mera ya llegó. La mera ya llegó. Yo soy la mera. La mera ya llegó. La Candelaria. La mera ya llegó. San Juan Bautista. La mera ya llegó. Está presente. La mera ya llegó. Vivimos para bailar. Vivimos para la mera ya llegó. Este ritmo que te trae con estilo y sabrosura. La mera ya llegó. Ya llegó. Ya llegó. Ya llegó. Ya llegó.
What's up?